And again.
Yeah.
Aaron, can you please pray us in?
Lord, thank you for this time together that we have to praise and worship you. Thank you for my brother Terence, all you're doing in his life.
Amen. All right, everyone. Please turn to Genesis 32, and we're going to start in verse 22. Lucky, you mind putting the light on, please? Like this. There you go. Perfect. No, not that one. That's on the other side. Nope. Genesis chapter 32, verse 22. Perfect. Thank you. All right. So my title reads, Jacob Wrestles with God. I don't know if there's a backstory. I don't think I had a backstory. All right, I'm just going to get into it. So here we come up with a story that is very common in the world today, and that's family issues. We're coming up with, this story is where Jacob is about to meet his brother Esau, who he stole the birthright from. And since Esau is the older brother, he would receive the birthright. Well, the birthright was the oldest got most of the inheritance from the family. And so Esau was in line for it, and Jacob kind of weaseled his way and schemed and kind of stole it from him. But all right, so Jacob. Sorry, give me a second. Okay, Jacob's name means schemer and deceiver. And at a weak moment in Esau's life, he traded a bowl of stew, so to speak, for his birthright. He found him in a time where he was very hungry, and he kind of weaseled his way into getting the bigger inheritance over Esau. And there's more to that story, but just for time's sake, we'll leave it at that. So starting with verse 22. Oh, no, sorry. So Jacob is hearing his brother coming, and he hears that there's an army coming with him. And the first thing Jacob thinks is, oh my God, he's going to get back at me for what I did to him by trying to steal his birthright. And really, a guilty conscience never really dies. And here we see that let's start with verse 22 and 23. The same night, he arose and took his 2 wives, his 2 female servants, and his 11 children, and crossed the ford of the Jabbok, which is pretty much a stream, I'm assuming, correct? Right? Yeah, okay. He took them and sent them across the stream. Yeah, sorry. He took them across and sent them across the stream and everything else that he had. So this is what he's doing. He's figuring there's going to be a war between him and his brother because he's scared of all the men that he has with him. And he wants to get his family on the other side of the stream. And again, that just shows that, it just shows how he's trying to plan out his, he's trying to get away from what he's supposed to encounter. He's just trying to hide and scheme and not face what he's supposed to face. He's trying to get out of everything, weasel his way out. And it's just always trying to stay one step ahead of the of people and as well God. In here, it seems like God is trying to bring them together. He's trying to get them to kind of reconcile their relationship. And Jacob doesn't know because he's too blind by what he's trying to control and what he's trying to, set for himself. And again, he's, like I said, he's always scheming, always lying, and manipulating his way into getting things. And I mean, I feel like we can all kind of relate to that a little bit, we just we're so busy trying to plan our life and our steps and not even include God into what we're doing, that we mess it up for ourselves before we even get a chance. And it seems like that's what Jacob is doing here. So let me finish. All right, so verse 24. And Jacob was left alone. God finally had the chance to get Jacob alone. Like after he sent his family across the stream, Jacob was by himself. And so God finally had a chance to get with Jacob alone. And he was going to deal with him in his way. He was going to deal with him in his ways. The ways of his scheming, conniving ways, manipulating ways, that he's always tried to be one step ahead of everybody. So the first thing I think of here is God needs to get alone with each and one of us. When we're not near others, when we don't have plans for the night, when we're not on the phone, whatever it is that keeps us away of God and keeps us busy, keeps us kind of occupied. Sorry, guys. God wants to be with each and every one of us, to deal with us and find out where our heads are at. Not because he doesn't know, but because he wants us to figure it out. He wants us to say, I'm doing this too much, or I'm doing that too much. Okay, verse 25. When the man saw that he did not, or did I miss the whole thing? And the man wrestled with God, and the man wrestled with him until the breaking of dawn. When the man saw that he did not prevail against Jacob, he touched his hip socket. I don't know if I read that too early. I'm sorry, guys. I'll try my best. All right. So verse 25. When the man saw that he did not prevail against Jacob, he touched his hip socket, and Jacob's hip was put out of joint as he wrestled with him. So Jacob was set on his ways, and he's wrestling with an angel, or I think it's an angel, with God, maybe supernatural being, all night. And he finally says to the angel, "I've had enough." Or the angel finally says, "I've had enough." And he touches his hip, and his hip joint goes out. Basically, Jacob walks with a limp the rest of his life. And he says, "Let me go before the day breaks. Anyone that can wrestle with an angel all night really has a problem. They really want their way. They're really fighting for what they want to do." And so this angel says, "Let me go before the day breaks. I've had it. We've been wrestling all night. I put your hip socket out. Just stop." Then Jacob said, I will not let you go unless you bless me." This gives us some insight about God, that God isn't looking for perfect people. He's looking for people struggling and trying. But most importantly, he's looking for people that are hungry for him. And if you want to see miracles and revivals and restored relationships in your life, it's going to take that. It's going to take hunger. Otherwise, we're just going to do what we've always been doing for a long time. And what does hungry mean? Hungry means desperate. Like you need more of God. This is what Jacob is saying. Or this is what Jacob was saying. Yeah, this is what Jacob was saying. I'm not going to stop until you bless me. I need more. And he really schemed his way in a lot. But he knew he needed he needed God more, and honored that. I think we're all a little desperate here. I think me in particular, I just can relate a lot to this story. It just brings up a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings, and I think we're all like how it started, just trying to plan our way and we're already in a mess, and we continue to keep on going, digging deeper and deeper and deeper, and still trying to go against what God has for us. And and it's hard to switch. It's hard to just be still and just follow your heart. And at some point, Jacob recognizes that his ways are over. He doesn't want to live the life he's living anymore. And and he's wrestling with this angel for all night. And I mean, we don't really have that exact. I can't say I've done that before, but being here, getting a start on putting the past behind and trying to better my life, seeing other people better their lives. I think it takes hunger. Kind of sort of what Jacob went through. I think he was just over, trying to hide from his brother, always looking over his shoulder. I can relate a lot to that. Just with my children's moms. I had a lot of guilt, and not stepping up to the plate, being a man and or a father. And so anytime a conflict arose or was going to arise, I just ignored it, blocked it, didn't want to deal with it, and it kept on coming. See, these problems we have never, they just come back in different forms. If you think you've gotten rid of a problem or situation, you might have escaped it at that point, but it's going to come back again. It's going to come back in a different form, whether it's another person, another relationship, another friend, another family member. It's going to come back again, and it's going to be even harder to deal with. And the more you push that away, I mean, just from what I've learned, the more you push it away, the more it comes back further and just deeper, and it's harder to get out of that situation than if we just had dealt with it in the beginning. And that's always been my issue, is just not dealing with things head on. I just never wanted to deal with anything. I wanted to do what I wanted to do in that moment. And if it didn't entail if it wasn't what I wanted, then I wasn't doing it. But the same problems happened again. I mean, it wasn't, that's, I like the story a lot because it's very, very relatable. It's almost, a story of my life, really. Jacob was a good man. He just, took him a while to figure that out. And, but I mean, he's human just like us. And like I said, it's, he does at the end prevail. He gets blessed. Let's see. Here we go. All right. All right. So this is what Jacob was saying. I'm not going to stop until you bless me. I need more. And he already lied and schemed and deceived his way into a lot, but he knew that he needed more, and God honored that. Many would think, why would God honor a person like that? He did many things that were deceitful just to get his way. This is the mystery of God. He looks at the heart, and what Jacob really wanted was more of God. Then the angel asked his name, and he said, "My name is Jacob." What the angel really was trying to get out of him was, when he said his name, that he wanted him to realize what he was saying was, I'm a deceiver. My name is pretty much deceiver, right from the beginning when I was saying that's what Jacob means. And I don't know if you guys know, but most of in Genesis, anything that happens, like names are very important. When I don't really know much about that, but I just know names are important. And sorry, that's what it says. So sorry. All right. So we're gonna move on. So Jacob had the courage to wrestle with the angel. I'm sorry. Oh, jeez. All right. Jacob had the courage to wrestle with the angel until he blessed him because he was hungry. That's the kind of hunger we need. He had all the money and all the stuff he ever wanted. He had all the animals. He was very rich. He had money. And he had family. He had everything he wanted. but it was all over the. But what he really wanted was just the blessing of God, and that's exactly what he got. He got the blessing of God, and in the end, because God looked at his heart posture and knew what he wanted. He God was faithful and he blessed him, and let's see, verse 29. Nope, yeah, 29. And Jacob asked him, "Please tell me your name." But he said, "Why is that you ask my name?" And there he blessed him. So Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, saying, "For I have seen God face to face, and yet my life has been delivered." The sun rose upon him as he passed Peniel, limping because of his hip. So, that's all I got.